kids can see that you need to make your rights. Part of being real is that we're not perfect, and sometimes we need to say, Dad didn't do that right, but I'm going to work on that. So.
Well, Pastor Morrow, we're talking about family. We're talking about the home, child rearing. I guess there's a lot of different directions we can talk about today. But just let's get started. I guess we can talk about your family and how long you've been married and how many kids you have and just a little bit of background before we launch into it.
Okay, sure. Well, I was born and raised in a Christian home, pastor's home.
Okay.
And so I grew up in the ministry. So a lot of the things I'm doing now, I kind of just grew up with. It wasn't new. Okay. But I've been married, I think, 24 years. Mm-hmm. And so we got married in about almost Christmas time. Mm-hmm. And I was an assistant pastor, and my wife was doing some student teaching, so we were just back and forth on the phone and such. And I remember the phone at the time, my first cell phone was free incoming calls. So at night, after 9 o'clock, we could talk. And so we'd, and then finally we got married, and then she came to the church where I was an assistant pastor. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And
so you have
six
children. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
3 boys, 3 girls.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Your children are here at school at Providence Baptist College and been a blessing. And your one son is getting ready to join you in the ministry.
Yep. We voted in January for Jordan to become our assistant pastor. So him and Mary will be coming. We just found out they're gonna have a baby.
That's exciting.
So we're excited about that. Be grandparents. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
it's wonderful. Can you talk about how the church can help with kids and families? Are there kids programs that you feel the church can help families with?
Yeah. Our churches, we've always since the beginning had lots for the kids. Just big VBSs, youth camp, and every Wednesday night we have King's Kids, and we do a lot of games, and just there's so much for the kids. I always felt like that's the future of the church, and we want their memories to be good of church and exciting. And so just tell the parents that if your kid's getting in trouble or something, don't take church away as a punishment. Yeah. Church is good. And it's not that we're forcing you to go to church as a punishment either. It's just they enjoy church. They do something wrong, keep them in church, keep them in the program, the fun part too. Don't use that as a discipline because that's where they're going to get help, Yeah. But I believe the church and the home, in the school work together. But I don't think that the church takes the place of the home. And some I've seen that over the years. Some are like, there's something every night of the week at church. And then you don't really have time with your kids. And I think that's very important that mom and dad have a good relationship. The church doesn't raise your kids. That's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. I think you can do it together. But I think it's important that you have time with your children to teach them the basic thing, just to have fun too. Just go out and play baseball or whatever. Just do things together where you're not just depending, okay, I got to work and my kids are in church, so they're going to turn out all right. No, it's you need to take time with them, and God gave them to you. So it's working together. Church is very important, but also is the home, and the school.
There's a program that we have at Northwest. It's called Stepping Stones. It's for the 4th through 6th grade girls in our church, and they just stick around after church on Sunday morning into the afternoon, and there's ladies in the church who run it. It's basically a home ec kind of an emphasis. And really, when I think about it, it's not really a program so much for our girls as it is for the mothers of those girls, because the girls come home and say, I want to earn my laundry badge. Yeah. And now it's mom's turn to, okay, then, well, let me help you earn your laundry badge. And now you've got mom and daughter side by side working together to get this, home ec project done. Or maybe it's ironing, and maybe it's cooking or baking. And so my one daughter's gone through that program, and it's just amazing to me how much of a homemaker, she's ready to be one day. Yeah. And it's not because the church taught her, and no doubt there were women in that program who helped, but it was primarily a catalyst to bring my daughter and my wife together
Sure.
so that they could make this thing happen.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, and you've got kids, you find out, I remember when I first started out, starting having kids, people always say, well, your kids they're all going to be different. And I'm like, well, kids are kids, but they really are. Each one is different. They have different personalities, different likes. And I think part of the job as a parent is find their gifts and talents and encourage and foster that. Like, if they're good in art and drawing, or some are good in music, or some are, they try to get involved in everything. But then as they get a little older, look at their talents and kind of help them. If it's music, if you want to, I'm going to help you get a guitar. I'm going to help you pay for your piano lessons, if that's where you see that God has gifted them with. And or if it's something else. Not everybody is a musician. Not everybody's, and you don't have to be.
Yep.
You have to be who God made you to be. And that's what we taught our kids. You be who God made you to be. You don't have to please mom and dad. We know you want to, but what does God want you to do? And then help them figure that out, work them together, and then encourage and support that. I think one of our boys is just, they all can sing and do stuff, but like Josiah, he is, God blessed him with, it's like anything, he can pick up almost any instrument and play it. It's a gift from God. It's a natural thing. And we always encourage that and try to, his birthdays and Christmas, get him some type of a instrument. The other ones, I remember Jordan, he first started to learn to sing, and he was down in the basement, and he had one song. We were going to convention for school. He had one song he had to learn on CD. I'd hear him down in the basement playing that song over and over and over and learning that song. And he learned to sing that, and he did well. And he was the first one that really took off with music and singing.
Yeah.
And now he's a good singer. That's kind of his he can play guitar a little bit and do some piano, but his more of his gift is more of singing. So my daughter Ashlyn, that's at home, she loves to bake, loves to cook. Loves to take care of kids. I don't think she may mind me saying this, she's still dyslexic. So school was a little hard because things get turned around. So, and sometimes she'd feel not like the other kids. They have this. And I said, Ashlyn, look at you do.
Yeah.
You bake and you love kids, and this is what God has given you. And we encourage her and foster that in her. So you find out where your kids are at and encourage that.
You're not pointing out what they're not. You're
Right.
pointing out what they are.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up that every kid is different. That was one of the questions I was going to ask and kind of forgot about it. But because my two children, some kids take after their mother, some kids take after their father a little bit more in personality and things like that. So you're talking about the gifts that they have. Is it true also in the way that you would approach them with, discipline? Is it kind of depend on the kid as well? You
sure.
kind of figure
Absolutely.
out who they are, how they motivate, how they operate.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have one of our daughters, Brooklyn, is autistic on the spectrum. She's on the milder end, but so she's got some learning disabilities, and even some of the things where you would expect something out of one of your other kids, you have to be more patient, and she just has some learning disabilities. So yeah, they're different in that way. In so many ways they're different, but you need to know your kids, I guess as a parent because we can be really hard if you just don't care. This is what I said, you're doing it doesn't matter. And kids need to do it. They're told, but they're also, we should have a reason why we're doing it. It's not just, I'm in a hurry. You can really hurt the heart of a child and develop, we talked about that bitterness because we've, the Bible says, don't provoke your children to wrath. And if we just demand things and we don't realize how it's affecting that child or the heart of that child, I don't want to wound their heart inside. I'm not trying to baby them, but really have resentment build up just because I'm being a jerk as a dad, I guess,
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a great Bible verse that often we read, and it's, how does that look practically? Don't provoke your children to wrath. What is that?
Yeah.
What are the different ways we could provoke our children to wrath? And another Bible verse, and this is off topic, but husbands, don't be bitter against your wives. Well, how and why would I be bitter against my wife? Obviously, Scripture has an insight into that marriage relationship that there is an easy way for men to be bitter against their wives. Why would that happen? How would that happen? How do we prevent it? And so that's one instance of, fathers don't provoke your children to wrath, expecting things that they're just simply not.
Yeah.
Have you explored that topic in other areas too?
Well, if I look back at my life, with that same verse in mind, when would I say wrath, but get frustrated, if a parent doesn't understand, like if you can ever speak, you just do what you're told, which is right. Mm-hmm. But can I raise my hand and ask a question?
I'm a person too. I
right.
have
Yeah. It's like, okay,
thoughts.
Dad, the reason I don't, or Mom, I don't want to do this, and let the child tell you what's going on in their heart.
Okay.
If you just stifle that all the time, say just because I said so, and I believe in just because I said so,
Sure.
you're the parent.
Yeah.
But as the kids get older, you do need to listen to them and see what they're thinking. Because, have you ever done something and you find out it's not what you thought it was, and you were sharp about something? And, oh man, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have,
Yep.
like your kid's dragging, you're trying to get something. I told you to do this, and your kid's dragging about it, and you get after them. You find out later that, they had a headache or they're sick to their stomach, and you didn't realize it. You know what I mean? You just would feel bad. So, in a love, you gotta love your kids enough to think about their feelings. You're still the boss and the parent, but
well, seems to be a line then between talking back to your parents, right?
Right.
Versus expressing, a legitimate, situation. Go clean your room. But Dad,
right.
But Dad isn't always talking back. But Dad could be, but my room's on fire, Dad. You know, there's a legitimate,
right.
extreme, obviously, but there's that instance
where we never allowed back talk or anything like that. But if they approach in the right way, you teach them, you can come talk to me. But if I just demand without ever listening to them, I think that provokes bitterness and resentment.
And there's that openness again, where they feel the liberty to come to you with anything, and they've also been taught how to come to you,
right.
which I guess is a part of the problem for a lot of kids and parents. The openness could be there, but they're just not going about it the right way.
Well, my wife has come to me, because the kids, she'll have a conversation with the kids later, and then they'll kind of pour out their heart. Well, Dad said, and my wife will come and tell me, and say, well, did you know this? No, I didn't know that. And I find myself going back, you know what? I didn't realize that was all happening, and my response to that wasn't right. So I think if kids can see that you need to make your rights, part of being real is that we're not perfect, and sometimes we need to say, Dad didn't do that right, but I'm going to work on that. So
yeah, so I mean, you've got kids in different places in their ages, right? Mm-hmm. You've got a married man with his wife expecting a child. You've got a young boy, 9 years old, in your home. Mm-hmm. You got a teenage daughter, right? Ashlyn
She's 18.
18 years old, yeah. Mm-hmm. So dealing with all those different ages and everything in between, how do you manage a little bit of interacting with each of those kids on an individual level?
Yeah, well, the three older are in college, so we don't get to see them as much. But now we've got more time with the younger ones, and they're always excited when the older ones come home. We we love our family. But when they were all in the home, even with the age gap, they're still all in the home. One of the things we always did on Friday nights, and a lot of people probably do this in the Christian circles, is do family night. But for a lot of years we did that because we were busy with the school all week and everything. But then we'd let the kids pick. Okay, what do you guys want to do? We go out to eat, or if we could afford it, or some activity that they wanted to do, games in the house. But everybody looked forward to Friday night. That we did that for years. We don't do that so much anymore as the kids are gone and stuff. We maybe do it on different days. But I remember when all the kids were home, that was really special, and we always looked forward to Friday. And they got to choose. We didn't. We let them do within reason.
Sure.
So just spending that time, and then individually, taking opportunities. Like I said, I took the boys. Would take the boys with me to preaching meetings. We hunted together, and all the girls too. I mean, we live in the country, so the girls. I mean, I tease with the boys whenever they talk about a boy and I meet him, I say, my girls got their own deer. Would you? So
no pressure.
Yeah, but the girls, we just do hunting together, like I said, and church activity, just anything we could do, we just did it together. So
That's wonderful.
Early on, when our kids were born, I think every child of ours, we did baby dedication. I don't know if that's a big deal, and
Yeah, we do that at our church.
Yeah. So we always brought our children. The first one, Jacqueline, was our first one. We were down in Mississippi, and I remember bringing her in her little car seat. She was the only one that day, and setting her right on the pulpit and said, "This is our child, Lord, and we're giving her to you." So, what a blessing to see. All these years later, she loves the Lord, know. So, and we've done that with each of our children. We dedicate them. We want to raise, my wife and I want to raise our kids to love and serve God. My prayer for them every night is that they'll serve God all of their days.
Yeah,
they'll finish all their days, and we work towards that end. But I think baby dedication, it wasn't just a formality. We really, in our heart, we're giving this child to you, and Lord, help us raise this child and to love and serve you. And part of that prayer about that you want them to meet somebody that was raised like they were, they have that same heart. So it's part of the prayer.
Obviously, as educators, working in a Christian school and teaching and guiding and directing that way, were there some things that, obviously not everything can be taught in a school day.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that were extracurricular that you wanted to teach your kids? Was it in the matter of soul winning? You wanted to teach them how to do the Romans Road, or was that part of the school curriculum? I mean, I'm trying to show some differentiation that not everything that your child needs to learn is or can be taught in a school setting, public school and even a Christian school.
Well, I think one of the things when you mentioned that my boys really look forward to was coming here to college and the bus route type stuff, because we're in a small town and even our soul winning is different. Because we're at 100 people and we started off initially soul winning every Saturday. But after you knock all the doors in your town, you can't keep going to the same door every day,
Yeah.
So we started doing it first and third Saturday, and then we would just do Easter time, VBS time. We just again blanket keep blanking in the area and keep you just have to do things a little bit different. But we tried to have a bus route after like different VBSs, and we couldn't. It's so far from house to to the next house. It's 20 miles or whatever.
Wow.
So what we found too is we got parents would say, well, I'll just bring our kids in, and they would drop them off. So we did a lot of picking up with our own vehicles, different people in the church. But I remember the boys, saying, and I wanted them to experience that, because I was in Bible college. I did knew kind of how that worked and stuff. So that's good for them to learn a different, bigger ministry, so forth. But so they learned country church.
Yes.
Now they learn city church, and I've told them, I said, it's not one against the other. It's just where you are.
Sure.
What God guides you to do. So.
Well, you grow up in one place, and your scope is so small. You just think this is how it's done everywhere, and you just realize by branching out a little bit that it's just not so.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own unique situation, really.
Right.
And everybody's got to serve the Lord the best way they can where they are.
Right.
So, and then obviously for the daughters as well. I mean, you teach something in school. Has your wife been able to, some outside of school, teaching the daughters, different things?
Well, I know, my wife and my daughter went into nursing about the same time. They got their CNA first.
So they did that together?
They did it together.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they became CNAs first. Jacqueline was interested in it. I really kind of what provoked it for my wife. I got sick, and we've talked about that before.
Yes.
I got sick, so we didn't know what was going to happen. So my wife said, I've always thought about, her parents are in the medical field, and I said, I really encouraged her to do that, because I said, I don't know what's going to happen with us, this health issue. So anyways, my daughter took the CNA course. They did it together. So that's, but that doesn't seem to be my other daughter's interest. So my wife does a lot of baking too. She bakes, cinnamon rolls for all the football camp or whatever, they did a couple years ago. And just so Ashton has really picked up on that. Even this trip when we came here, she made a couple pans of cinnamon roll for somebody. That's, teaching her how to cook and all that. That's kind of what, and then art, with the girl you're talking about with the girls.
Yeah.
Jacqueline just illustrated a book for Brother Hall, all the artwork for that. Her mom taught her that. And Jacqueline kind of naturally had that ability, and Ashlyn too, very good, and in school learning, pencil and all art and all that painting. And Brooklyn, in her way, is doing it too. So, Mom spent a lot of time with that. We did stuff together, but I taught my boys construction, and in 2020, when everything kind of shut down, we were actually putting an addition on our house.
Oh, really?
So a lot of their school, they helped me with a lot. That was fun time together.
What was the addition?
It was just an extra bedroom, like a master suite up top, and then down below basement too. So two more bedrooms.
So it was a 2-story addition onto the house.
Yep. So
that's incredible.
They helped us. That was just the timing of that was good, and the boys helped me a lot with that. And we'd always done stuff like that, but that was a good teaching time for them. So. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time coming in and talking and being open and frank about everything.
Yeah.
Because, like you said before, real.
Yeah.
You just got to be real and open about things.
Yeah. Well, good.
Make sure that you check out the audio-only platforms and follow us and subscribe to those channels. Also on YouTube, you can see the video form of this podcast as well. Make sure that you like this episode, share it with somebody who will be benefited by it as well. Thank you so much.